Welcome to Ask the Expert. I'm Leticia Remauro. We are live today with George Passariello, my partner. How you doing, George?
Pretty good, Leticia. How you doing?
I'm doing great, even though it's a rainy, disgusting day. And our great, wonderful guest, you saw a little bit of her in her clip, Natasha Komis. Natasha, welcome to Ask the Expert.
Hello, guys. Thank you for having me.
Well, we
I'm
love
looking at your last name. Are you guys half Latino?
I am not half Latino. I'm all Italian.
No.
Although my grandmother would say I'm half Italian because I am Neapolitan and the other half is Sicilian, and they didn't recognize each other.
Yeah, Sicilian doesn't count as Italian.
but Natasha, your background is Cuban and Greek.
Greek, yeah.
So we have an elected official on Staten Island who is half Cuban,
I
half
heard about
Greek.
that. You know?
Yeah.
That's some crazy stuff. Actually, what's her name? I'm sorry.
Her name is Nicole Maliotakis, and she's the current assemblywoman, and she's running to be the congresswoman in Staten Island. So she has a fiery spirit.
Awesome.
That's for sure.
Listen, if there's no words.
I want everybody to take notice of my countdown. 442 days until Bill de Blasio, our mayor, is out of City Hall. The countdown board.
Is that what's happening?
What's that?
I said, is that really what's gonna happen? I'm going live with you guys. I'm showing my people to tune in as well. Wait, is he really taken out? I mean,
term's up.
His term is up. Thank God.
So take the torch. That's it. Say the torch is mine. I'm taking it back, right? That's what you have to do.
That's right. So, New York City residents are eagerly awaiting the time that he leaves office. And good news for anybody that didn't read it, his wife, Charlene, was going to run for Brooklyn Borough President, but she's sparing that borough, that burden, and has just announced that she will not be running for Borough President. So, we really get rid of that 442 days in New York. So maybe we could return back to normal. We're being joined.
I like the way you're going like the horns up.
Well, that's
like,
my
I get it. I know, but it's a double entendre, like everything else.
So Jody Wasserman joins us today on our chat, and my mom, Josephine Nastasi, is joining us today. So mom's our #1 fan, and so now we're going to get to know Natasha. Natasha, tell us about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background and how your career has progressed to where you are today.
So, I mean, all my life, before you saw the image you saw. I mean, now there's a whole new image, so it's like, what's going on here? You know, the old stuff is there. You know what I mean? I am planning on coming out with some new music, but so I was always a great student my whole life. You know, straight A student. I mean, very dedicated to my schoolwork and stuff like that. You know, that was number one. And in high school, towards the end, I had started to like kind of play around with modeling, and I was going to New York City, you know, rebelling a little bit. It's a little funny because I was just watching Paris Hilton's new documentary, and she talks about that, and it's so crazy because I know like we were doing it at the same time, and there's a lot of stuff about her. It makes all the sense in the world why I was on that show. Like to the I never understood it, but I totally get. I represented the rebellion in her because she's not as she's tough. She's like she had to break against a lot to be herself. You know what I mean? So I think for me it was similar. Being a woman again, you deal with that kind of stuff. So whatever. I was a great student. I was always teased for being a good student and stuff like that. But then in high school, I ended up going to a magnet school for smart kids, and so all of a sudden I became the popular girl. You know what I mean? I was always never not popular. I was just a loner. You know what I mean? I hung out with like, you know, the new kids, you know, from out of town, or the sportsters. Like, you know, I played sports. I was an artist. So I kind of was like all over the place. You know what I mean? So I graduated Seton Hall University. And when I didn't really like what was presented to me by the country. There was really lack of jobs. This was after 9/11. And so everything that we were promised was basically down the tubes. And I'm like, and I also got screwed over because of my loan situation. Because I am half Latina, it kind of went against me. So people think that if you're full white, well, Caucasian is considered white, right? Oh, you're living the dream. Well, let me tell you about the mixed situation. It's not always like that. So, yeah, I ended up $86,000 in debt. So when I was graduating, I mean, I was like, okay, so this diploma is beautiful. It's a great university. It sits on my wall. And my father passed away, and I just totally, I did a Democrat, like, flip the switch. Like, what, I mean, a liberal, I guess. What's going on here? You know, like, people were like, what, you know, because I internally just like, I had it, and it was like my time to explore the wild side, which is where, believe it or not, rebellion, it led to music. So, you know what I mean? And on top of it, I didn't have to pay my student loans. And my 21-year-old brain was like, I'm not paying this and being a slave. Get the heck out of here. So, you know, I made one payment, $6,000. My balance went down $1,000, and I was like, so you want me to be a slave? And I was like, bye. You know what I'm saying? And I just, you know, lived a cash money lifestyle. I mean, I didn't really exist, you know what I mean? It was fine with me. But now, you know, in my 30s, it's a little different. But is it really? I don't know.
So,
So
how,
that
so what led you into music and into, you know, what was it? What was the connection? What was your big break that got you into music and modeling?
it's funny that you guys are asking me this, and I'm coming clean to the world. Really, it was politics. I mean, well, it was the decline of Western civilization. It was a documentary about rock and roll. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it.
I have, yeah,
And
great
the
documentary.
feature, you've seen it?
Yeah,
No?
yeah, it's awesome.
It's about like hair metal, glam rock, you know. So I watch this thing, and you know, everyone's like, all the adults are like demetalizing the kids from like metal.
Oh,
Whoa, because I only experienced the 1990s of rock and roll, and I'm like, when I saw this, I'm like, I know this is supposed to be like terrible, but this is my family. I'm like, I need to be here, and I immediately zapped in. It was like hair metal, 1980s. I am not. I was already, the 90s was already a slum of rock and roll. Although I like it, you know, but it was the end of it. It's like the tail end of stuff. But you already know when the tail end of stuff is coming, and that's why the artists, quote unquote, we'll talk about that later, are the ones who depict that. That's why artists are very important. So really, it was political for me. Like when I did it, I was like, you know what? You're pissed off. Get up there and say something. And what's the better way to do it? I'm not just gonna go and take down monuments. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna go and I'm gonna talk. Can I curse on the show or no?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna go talk shit to the world. I'm gonna get on stage and do it. You understand what I mean? So that's what I did, and it was like very much inspired. That decline of Western civilization, it was like godsend to me, and you know.
That's wild, actually. And Leticia, if you've never seen the documentary, you'd love it. I know you'd love it.
No, I
That was
haven't
my
seen.
era too.
I haven't seen. But what
It's very
intrigues me,
sexual.
Natasha, about you is, um, you know, to see women in metal, you know, in that type of rock and roll, and it's not usual that
Oh, that was
it's usually the guys that dominate that genre. So, what was it like for you?
oh wow, it's almost as if we went over these questions before. Well, let's put it this way: there were a lot of fights. I had to play like one of the men, and I had no problem doing it. See, like all my life was raised, you know, anything a boy could do, a girl could do, vice versa. You know what I'm saying? My parents were thank God they were open minded in that mindset. Um, and you know, my dad trained me as a, you know, playing softball as I was a little boy, and my mom, you know, she was making me walk down a runway, down the hallway. So like it was fashion and then softball and then, you know, diving off a high diving board, wildness. And, you know, because the Greeks, they're wild people. And the Cubans, they're very makeshift. So they know how to make things out of things, you know what I'm saying? So my grandmother taught me how to sew and stuff. So I'm sorry, back to you just asked, women in rock and roll. So it was funny because I just watched The Runaways, and I always used to get compared to Joan Jett, which is why I said if I'm going to come back, I was like, you know what, man, I need to. And now I'll do a Joan Jett cover because when I had the dark hair, it was just too. It was people were like, "What trying to be?" I'm like, no, I'm sorry that I'm a reincarnation, man. Like maybe God sent us here to save the earth. I don't freaking know. You know what I mean? Like. You know, people would really think that I was trying to, and I'm like, I swear, I don't know much of her music. We just are similar. And you know what I'm saying? She's and she played like one of the boys. Like, I mean, if you watch her, she walked like a dude when she walked. And that's how I am. I mean, I'm straight. I'm into men. I don't know what her preference is, nor does it matter. But the thing is that our spirits are very similar. I didn't want to be known as any rock star's girlfriend. I didn't want to be known as for my look. So I really kind of covered myself up in ways like well, I had managers from Staten Island that said I was making my band look like alien transvestites or what was it? Drag queen vampires. I'm like, that's the point. You know, so I definitely didn't look pretty. You understand? But I definitely was mad about that because you know, imagine you can't show yourself, you know what I'm saying, to the world. You know what I mean? You got to gritty it up. And you know what? Believe me, it was real. I mean, I got into fights with men. I mean, believe me, it was a war on that stage. You know what I mean? I mean, people tried to take me down, Rocklahoma, you know, but it was crazy. It was like a Trump thing, like what's going on with him. They try to take him down, and then bang! All of a sudden, he ends up in the light, and it's like so. I kind of I don't know. We haven't gone into that part. I know what that's like is to be demonized, you know? And I'm just like, man, it's an awful thing. And yeah, you know, I am a East Coast, so you know, I've got a bit of an attitude, or at the time, you know. I mean, I'm much nicer now, you know what I mean? I was always a nice person. I'm a giving person. I'm a Cancerian. I'm a, you know, crab. I'm a house person, you know. But when it comes down to my art, believe me, I will fight for the like I'm in the ring. Like I will. I've slapped many a men. I've punched many a men in the face. Like it's the facts. Just for the disrespect. Like that's like the one thing. It's like don't even look at my music, my band, my clothing. If you look at it, you take it the wrong way. We're gonna go down. Like it's crazy. I'm very over.
It's like your child. Yeah.
This is a great comment.
It is my child. My baby, yeah. They're my babies.
So,
All the time.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
our
All
other
the music.
Cuban Greek friend just chimed in, the one that's running for Congress, Nicole Malliotakis, and she said, by the way, this is all too coincidental. She is not only Greek and Cuban, but she attended Seton
What?
Hall just like me.
The man above. This is meant to be.
Coincidence? I say no.
No, it's not a coincidence. Wow. 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 Okay, this is, I'm sorry.
Lots of coincidences, and that your dads are Greek and your mothers are Cuban, and you're both very major personalities, and you're both fierce. I can tell you that Nicole fights for her politics like you fight for your music. It's her baby. You guys have a
Well,
lot
that's
in
the thing.
common.
I don't know what the politics are, but as a Greek, we're very much, I mean, well, first of all, we're passionate, but I know that the arts and all these things are very important. So for me, like, to answer and go back to your question, what got me into the music was politics. I was like, you know what, man? I'm watching the decline of Western civilization, and what happened to music? I'm going to get up there. Not only am I going to do the music, but I'm going to defend it. And I'm going to be like, what's going on here? So I saw, similar to what the rest of our country is seeing now, the decline of humanity. I already saw that in music. And for me, this is my second go around. And I'm like, you know what?
And you know,
Like, these people are complaining, oh, it's so bad right now. I'm like, really? It's that bad? I'm like, honey, try to come. This is my second time. It's like the never ending story. I'm passing by the horses, laser beams, get through your first time around. They're very impatient, these people. You know what I mean? I don't know. Whatever. Let's not get into it yet.
yeah, yeah, I can relate
Um,
to that.
our interviewer needs to mic up, they said, guys. Somebody's telling me. They can't hear you too well.
But they can't hear you.
Our mics or your mics, Natasha? Because we know we're having a lag with you, either weather or related or not.
Am I so loud? Maybe I should just be like, no, you guys, wait, you guys, I think it's,
Because
are
you Facebook Living as we're going.
Oh, yeah, that's
okay. So let's get into. I'm dying to ask you. So what is one of the misconceptions someone would have about you and your music? If they watch your music video, if they listen to your music, if they saw pictures of you, what do you think the biggest misconception people would have about you is?
Well, first of all, it's confusing. People don't know what to think. So that's number one. We understand that's there. Secondly, I think misconception at the time you're talking about, because I haven't been on stage in about 7 years. I mean, here and there. I think people thought I was a jerk. You know what I mean? An ass. But I was. You know what I mean? Like, I had to be. And it was not an act. It was, it's part of the territory. Like, when you're it's like you're in war, you're in battlefield. And as a woman, again, I had to fight. I got tired about it. I was like, man, I'm just so tired of it. You know what I mean? The dudes get jealous, actually. Like, my problem is men, well, if they can't keep up, well, they hate. You understand? So that becomes a very volatile situation. And so right there, they don't see women anymore. They see competition. And then that's where it's fair round for me. So what's a misconception? That I'm an asshole? That I was whatever. I mean, people who really knew me, though, have always said, they're like, you've always been a good-hearted person. You know, I do. Someone said it well. I have a lion's heart. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically true. I'm a Leo in 3 planets. So, like, in my planetary alignment, in my charts. Sorry.
So you get what you go after, without a doubt. You work until you get what you're seeking.
Yeah, the question is, why do I want it? You see, like, the thing is I think that I get what I want because I don't want them for selfish reasons. Like, I always made a pact with the universe, like, okay, if I get this or if I do this, I promise to serve. It's always kind of like I've always been kind of a leader. Like, let me protect. Not because I want to be the center of attention. Believe me, it's not that. I enjoy when other people take the center, but I just know where my place is. You know what I mean? And at home it's like a kitten. You roll over and whatever.
That's actually why I
Kind of thing.
started following you, because you were posting cool cat pictures.
Oh, really? Oh, well.
Yeah.
So at first it was that. That's what I'm saying. I know my ex-boyfriend's like, you have issues. I'm like, dude, you know, like, yeah, I'm that passionate. I have 3 black cats. I love them. My little one is called Donnie.
Yeah.
It's always the cat photos that drag you in.
They get you.
You start looking for a hotel room, and next thing you're watching little kittens play ball. It's the cat photos. So Natasha, what if you could tell us a little bit about what it's like behind the scenes in your business? I mean, all of us have been to concerts and we follow our favorite rock and roll stars or favorite music stars. What is it like for you when you're getting ready for a performance? What is it like backstage? How long does it take you to prepare? Is it weeks? Is it months? And what do you feel like just before you go on stage?
Well, okay, so first I'll tell you what it was like before I started performing, right? Because I was backstage with other artists, and I was in Page Six, and people would call me a groupie or whatever. But the thing is that I felt like not like I was undercover, but since it was the kind of music, and I wanted to make sure I stuck with the 80s, because I was like, listen, if I'm going to go down, I want to go down with the greats. I was like, there's no new rock and roll, and I want to open up. And I remember as I got my band together, I said, listen, guys, I go, we don't stop until we open up for one of our idols. And that ended up being Sebastian Bach at Skid Row.
Oh, wow.
So when we did that, we felt alleviated. Yeah, yeah. But before that, there was a lot that, I mean, it was just crazy. Just like what just happened with, our Congress, a woman running for Congress, like crazy things just happened, such as like, friendships with Axl Rose, and all of these people saw the work I did. Not only that, the talent. Listen, I believe you were either made for it or you can work at it. You can do both. Okay. And I definitely did both. And I definitely found some sort of calling, and it was definitely with that. So a lot of that was, going backstage and seeing how the big boys did it, and then I had to do my own thing and put it together. But I wanted to know how the top boys did it first. So, I became friends, and they were obviously going to be cool because they didn't look at me as just like she's just a hot girl. Like, no, like they always kind of were suspicious because I think they were kind of in their own heads a lot. It's either that or the drugs that they did in the 80s got their head, like they're just on another planet at this point. You know what I mean? But they didn't get it. But they were like Tommy Lee, for example. He's like, cool, dude. Like, like he didn't understand it. And I'm like, no, man, this is way deeper than what it's coming off like. I mean, there are artists out there, there are musicians like me and other people my age at the time, 10 years ago, that all had guitars, all were ready to rock the stage, and the airwaves had shut rock and roll out. So I'm like, no, guys, Tommy and guys and people and Axl, I understand. Like, it's almost like we're yin and yang. We don't understand. Like, they are in their mansions and we are in our bedrooms, right?
Right.
So there's no whatever. So anyway, for me, backstage, well, yeah, that took a lot. I'll tell you. Number one, people would always say, it's all about. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. So somebody's saying that they believe the interviewer. Yeah. All right. Anyway, thanks, guys. For me, it was very much fashion motivated. I was very much about the look, and people were very annoyed by that. they were like, it's got to be about the music. I'm like, listen, dude, just shut up, all right? Right? Like, and I remember standing there. And my mom is a a beautician, and I would stand again like above my guitarist, and I'm like, I want their eyebrows pencil thin. I was like, no, because I wanted a certain. That's what made it futuristic. You see, it was like the more android. I know it sounds great. Look at you guys are like looking at me. I'm like so into it, but I now have a fashion line. So I've come out of the closet. All right, guys, I like fashion. I always was into fashion. And to me, I mean, listen, when we walked in, we were like, we just stood there and everybody was like their mouths just dropped because everything was down to the T. I mean, I picked my band down to the T. Yes, they could play. The music was written by a producer and my band. So we had help from a producer. That was not, I didn't mind being the Britney Spears of rock and roll if I had to be. Okay, why not? It was the future.
And,
I wanted to help.
for me, branding is as important as the product itself, even more important sometimes. You look at, Apple as a company is a great example of this. People buy Apple phones because they're beautiful. Samsung phones work the same, maybe even better. But Apple's built this brand on the look of Apple. So as a marketer, that's number one.
The sleekness of it. Yes, you're right. That was definitely what it was about, being sleek and all this. And yeah, the guys. I mean, listen, they were all they were musicians. I was more of like a producer. You know what I mean? And I always had a pretty good voice. I was in chorus and in the choir, and then I guess I'm more of an artist though. Really, I'm a meaning I do enjoy the behind the scenes a lot, like the putting together the whole thing. Like I can feel a vision, and then it's just like putting it together. Well, I mean, I'm very impatient. I'm like, oh my god, if I feel the vision, I'm like, how do I
It's
do
a
this?
So
But it
you
all
take
comes
a
slowly.
holistic approach to it. When your show, you are in control of all aspects of it. You have a vision. You know what you want it to look like. You know how you want to connect with your audience, and you then make that happen. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Absolutely. It's right, like writing a great college term paper. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, listen, the intro must be there. There must be fog machines. I mean, I was crazy. I would be like telling my band, don't look at the people. I was like a Nazi, like when I was like, but I get that from my mom because she was very, hard, like crack the whip, like kind of thing. And I'd be like, when you come out there on stage, I mean, I would go crazy, like, like a great director. Let me lose my mind. All right. In the long run, it made sense because I also knew that we were not only was I a woman, we were doing music. Our look was completely 80s, future, retro, what's going on? But guess what? Now that is actually a thing. There are people who are preserving literally the 80s.
Yeah.
That's what retro is.
Thank God.
What is
That
it?
makes me happy. This is a good segue moment too, I think, because
This
everything
is
you've
retro.
mentioned, uh,
Cool.
Natasha,
This is the
everything
new.
your career has been in what would be called traditionally super liberal left world, right? Fashion.
So
I was in the fashion business. I owned a makeup company for a while. We did Fashion Week.
really,
It was hyper. It was I'm also a makeup artist. It was hyper liberal, and it became like the cool thing to do for me. So living in that world, and I don't know that the 80s glam rock, which is the only rock that matters, is like that in general. But I know the fashion world is, and I know TV is. Do you find any challenges when you started to change your view or be public about your view?
I think
We lost her.
we might have lost her. I think that I know the connection is weak. For those watching, we were having a little bit of difficulty with Natasha's connection. I'm hoping that it'll unfreeze soon. Ah,
Yeah, she's going to reconnect.
yeah, good, good.
I'll try to lead back in with that question because this is what I've been watching Natasha's social media and for a long time, and literally it started because I saw a couple of cute cats, and I have cats, so I was like, oh, look at these cats, and then I started to see her posts, and she was always a very understanding person, and very respectful on social media, and I saw her just getting attacked. And then I saw her go from quiet to loud, and she started attacking back.
George, what was she being attacked for?
Just the traditional things that we're getting used to seeing, like if you don't agree, if you don't like Joe Biden, you're a racist idiot, right? I mean,
Oh, it's a political attack.
yeah, political attacks, because she started talking about it. I've been through this my life, and I'm going through it, been through it, sick of it. Are these really my friends? How do I have a friend for 15 years that would turn around and tell me, who, by the way, I have helped that friend many times in my life, tell me if I'm a Trump supporter, you're a Trump supporter, then you're a racist. You need to come to terms with it.
Yeah,
This is what I was told.
yeah.
And here's the reality of the situation. I couldn't be further from the truth, as you know, as anybody who is my friend knows, right? But it didn't matter. They even told me, I've been told, well, how come you can't wear your Trump hat in public? Do you want to, you got to be afraid of getting beat up. And and I remember it all starting to click in my head. I don't want to be friends with these people.
Yeah,
Because you can wear your Joe Biden hat to my house anytime you want.
right.
I would never judge you for that. But I am now getting judged by people who know me and have seen me live my life, and me, I'm a community guy. I don't care who you are or what you are or where you come from or who you sleep with or if you like men or women. None of that matters. All that matters to me is that you're a good person. But my friends, who I thought were my friends, once they saw me start to speak out, and really, I didn't speak out about Trump. I spoke out more about Republican values.
Yeah.
It was over for me.
Well,
People dropped out of my life wholesale.
and it's interesting to me that we are having an issue of revolving around tolerance, and the people that preach tolerance in every way have become now intolerant of conservative political ideals and values, and that to me is just remarkable. But here's what the shaming that goes on is I think just it's so detrimental, and it is just deplorable that people think that they can shame you into changing your mind. I have friends in real life, right? Because the Facebook world, you have to differentiate who's your friends in real life, who's your Facebook friends. I have real life friends who know me well and know that I don't have a racist bone in my body nor a racist thought. But since this silly season kicked off, they now, if people on my Facebook page post something that could be racist, that could be, it shows that they're idiots. The person who posted it is an idiot. These friends will come on my page and say, well, the fact that you allow these people to post these things on your page reflects on you. And you then therefore hold the same values as they do. And I am shocked because since when is it okay for someone to edit other people's thoughts? Since
Huh.
when do we have the power to decide if somebody feels a certain way, it's right or wrong?
Hold on.
This is
Hello?
so unfortunately, it's raining in New York, and I don't know what's going on in Virginia. So we had
Just
some
click
connection
that link that I
problems with
sent you. You want me to
Natasha.
resend it?
So I'm going to I, I'm going to let George go ahead and talk to her and see if we can't get her back on. But at any rate, I think that everybody's experienced it, and maybe if you have, you should come on and write us a note. Tell us your experience. One thing I didn't say was to please share this podcast, even though it's not going very well. Share the podcast, and give us your comment. How many of you have experienced friendships, lost friends, had some altercations, or maybe been shamed because of your point of view? Or how many of you feel it's okay to shame people for their point of view? Okay, I think she's coming. Here she is. There she is. How you doing,
Sorry about that.
Natasha? You back?
Nice. All right.
Good, I'm sorry
Much
about that.
better too.
Yeah,
Maybe catch her up,
better.
Leticia. What were you chatting about?
So Natasha, we transitioned and started talking about friends who you've known for a while, and then you start to share political points of view, and suddenly they start shaming you, or they decide that they're not going to be your friends anymore because they don't like your political viewpoint.
Well, the thing is that I didn't even have a political view. Number one, the thing is that all my life I've actually been a proud non-voter. So like I was always like, listen, I'm like anti-government, like they screwed me over, blah blah blah, this and that, whatever. So I never knew anything about politics, not a thing. What I did notice was though when the pandemic started, so I had certain like let's say opinions, right? And I had noticed that my liberal friends, all of a sudden, because most of my friends are from New York City. I mean, the way that they were acting was actually the opposite of what liberal meant, and I was just like, okay,
Amen.
now it's starting to get to the point where online I noticed it. Like we all noticed it. Like look, it's like a wave. It's like every day it's a new freaking trend. Okay, I've already got wind of it. Okay, and so I'm like, at first it was shocking. I was like they're like, oh, you're a racist, or I was a homophobe. That was the best one. I'm like, me? I'm like, I've supported the gay community for years. I may not be gay, but I'm like, really? And they actually had the nerve to call me that, and I was just like, wow, dude. And then racist. I think in my now looking back, the media knew exactly how to target people, and I think that the weak ones went first. And I gotta be honest with you, lost friends. Hey, listen, if you're gonna come and act like that to me, you're really not a friend. I really don't care if you're friend, family. If you're gonna have that nasty attitude, man, peace. Because you know what? All my life, I've always supported people, whatever they need to do. And at this point, I cannot drown myself for other people. No, it's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, and
So
I
you know what I
noticed.
mean? Like I don't mind people, say what you want to say, but then they were coming on my page, and then they were like, being disrespectful. They were, belittling. So
Judgmental.
yeah, like I mean, it was just so ridiculous, and I'm just like, man, and right away it was the pandemic, really, and that's how I started to understand even how politics works. I mean, I always thought Donald Trump. To be honest, with you, I was always like laughing. I'm like, this guy's a fucking riot, man. Like, I love this guy just to be entertaining because you know what? I'm so tired of whatever. Maybe I'm biased because I like entertainment. Who the hell knows? All I know is I definitely dug into that, and we'll talk about that, soon enough. But um. Yeah, my friends are like, if you support him, that means you're support. I'm like, no. Number one, everybody is standing for a candidate for different reasons. That's the way I look at it.
Right.
It's not necessarily because for the reasons you are voting for somebody. You understand? What if my concerns are literally the deep state? Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking that, okay? And I'm seeing that um, for so many years, and he's not bought out like Fauci, like Bill Gates. He's actually out of that picture. What if that? So you know what, man? They've never discussed are they going to go back on gay marriage? marriage or this or that. But I'm like, dude, if we're going to have a civil war, the last thing I think anyone's going to be thinking about is getting married anyway. But secondly, if that happened, I would totally be on the front lines and say, listen, I don't, look, I've made more Republican friends.
Yeah.
At one point I said, hey, you guys turned me Republican. I was like, thanks to you liberals, now all of a sudden I'm Republican. I even adopted a Republican accent. You know, I was like, well, now I guess I'm Republican. Oh my God. And I learned how to do it from George W. Bush. And I'm like, you know what? So, what? My friend. What? Okay, anyway. Oh, shut up. Yeah, because I'm hanging out with some Republicans. So, you know, the thing is like, when I hang out with full Republicans, I miss my real liberal friends. And come to now find out, months later, it's the real leaders. It has nothing to do with what you're even thinking. We're all kind of coming back full circle. And the people who were never there to begin with, they're not there. And that's not my... You get what I mean?
Definitely.
Because you know what? We've all gone a different direction. And I just... It's a spiritual thing at this point. And so, you know what, man? There's a lot of friends of mine who... The ones I appreciate that didn't judge me, and I went full... My friend just said it. My friend Eric Rivas, who's a director, he's like, man, Ice Cube went Komis, because I was like, screw this. I was like, I'm Donald Trump, man. That's it. And like, you know, it was almost even more so pushed. And people thought I was joking. I'm like, I'm not joking. I literally... I'm going to learn what I like about this guy. And you know what? Now I start to look at it and I'm like, I'm a lot like this guy, you know?
Yeah.
I know what it's like. And I know what he's doing. I'm smart enough to know what he's doing, how he's doing it, why he's doing it. He's got to make a mockery of what is a mockery already. Sorry, that's the way I feel.
No, but that's true.
You couldn't be more on the money with that. You know, it was interesting. One of the things that I loved about, you know, I've been following you for a couple of years now, probably, and you've always just posted lighthearted stuff. You woke up one day like myself, and that's where I can relate to you.
No, I always knew. We always knew. You understand? I was doing the lighthearted stuff because probably I was so tired of being this gritty, like, person. But that never changed the fact that I was so gritty.
No doubt. And you woke up to politics one day, and I saw you start making the political, I won't call them political posts even, because it's not about Republican or Democrat. It's just about your opinion on things.
It's about this, honey. It's about these things.
Nice.
My liberal... Okay, let's put it this way. When you've got nothing to protect, and I know, right? Because I'm in Jersey, right? What am I going to do? I'm like, I better start making some friends. I'm like, I'm not going to have the government come knock on my door, give me a freaking vaccine. I'm starting to... Everyone's worried about toilet paper. I'm like, yo, things are going to get serious. Like, no, I don't know how to shoot one of these. Not for you guys. I don't want to do the wrong thing, right? But this is what a necessity is. So when my liberal friends are crying, they're liberal fucking tears, okay? I'm like, listen, man. You're fucking me up. Shut the door. When they're crying their liberal tears, I'm like, you know what, dude? I think you should be more invested in knowing how to defend yourself. And if you've got nothing to defend yourself on, and you don't realize that it's the government and it's layers and layers and layers going back to Kennedy, I mean, beyond.
Further.
We don't know when
further than Kennedy
started.
Oh, wait, as soon as government started getting big. Yeah, FDR.
Yep, FDR.
The Georgia Guidestones. Yeah, the conspiracy theorists. And I put it all together. So stupid. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? At the end of the day, it's never failed me to do that. I'm a person who likes to, you know, look in every corner. I don't judge not one corner. That's what these people are doing. They're judging one corner only. They're only watching one media. I'm watching people. I'm doing my own statistics in my head. You know, I just don't think that a lot of these people are smart enough. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know how you feel. Why don't you guys tell me?
Well, Natasha, I have a question for you. So, George has explained to the audience that people started attacking you for your positions on Twitter and Facebook. Can I ask you something? Would you ever attack somebody for their view? Have you ever attacked somebody for their view on social media? That
No,
the nerve
no.
of people, because you're confident
Listen,
in who
everybody
you are.
set up with their own life dharma. I studied Kundalini yoga, and I believe you want to know why? Because I believe in spirituality, and it's none of my business to judge. Everyone's here, and they have a contract with Mother Earth, and it is nobody's job to come in and say you're doing. Not even a parent doesn't own their child, nothing. So you
That's
know
right.
what? No, not even as a 5-year-old, I was very respectful.
That's freedom,
I don't
right?
understand it. I think that we're aliens, maybe. We're like hybrid people with hybrid brains because these people are not really, they're very, well, number one, they're scared. Number two, they've never lived life really. They've never seen things. They've never been in the hot seat, okay? I've been in the hot seat quite a few times in my life.
Right.
A lot
So
of times.
our guest, our friend, our new follower, Paul Esmond, just said, I just took my 12 gauge out on my lunch break. Everyone should be prepared to defend themselves. And Paul was a former Democrat, and he has now become a conservative, and he's been following the show. So I think he liked your little friend that you brought out, Natasha.
Yeah,
But getting back
yeah.
to it, I mean, I find it so disturbing that, you know, those of us that have confidence in ourselves and in our beliefs
That's
and,
what it
you
is.
know, and work hard, you know, we don't go around telling people how to feel. But those people, and you said it earlier, those liberal people who say that they are liberals, for them
I
to
don't know
almost
if they say
become a
that.
group think, they don't
Well,
want individual things.
I have certain a lot of them are like, for example, I have, let's say, some gay friends who are, this is their first, see, they've been pandered to by the left party. So, thank God that like there's a lot of Black Americans who are like not falling for it. That's number one. I'm just like, wow,
Yeah.
I am so
Shout out to
severely
Ice
impressed.
Cube.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
Ice
joke.
Cube, seriously, thank you for the God said, and you know what? And he's the perfect man for the job.
Yeah.
You know what? And he knows what he's got to do. And the way he said it, I watched his interview. He said, "I'm not doing this for the left or the right." He goes, "I'm doing this for my people." I'm like, "That's the way you should do it. You should do
That's
it for
it.
yourself. It's not because
Amen.
you like Donald. You don't. I happen to like Donald. All right, I really, honestly do. I would probably cry if I saw him because I just get him. You understand?
Yeah.
Like I understand what it's like to have to be a jerk 24/7. And he's a comedian. He's like Andrew Dice Clay,
Yeah. He's
Listen,
funny.
he
He's
is
funny.
the domino, the last domino that fell with a bang. And you know what? Everyone's so mad. Oh my God, it's all because of Donald Trump. Wake up. If you didn't feel the freaking thunder before that, man, you have not been living life. And if that's
Yeah.
the case, please. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even, the thing is, I don't even know who you guys are for, but it doesn't matter because the thing is that it's open dialogue. You see what I'm saying? I
That's
know,
right.
and it's a friendly environment. So no
That's right.
matter what you guys tell me, you can be telling me Hillary, uh, Tupac. I don't care.
Hey.
Tupac couldn't
Yourself,
run.
and
So.
I'm like,
No. We have Kanye West. I don't think Tupac has time to get into the race. But I mean, and
I
it
know, but
goes
I'm
back.
just saying.
I'd like him to get in.
Well, I just don't think there's time. There's only 18 days. You can't get on the ballot. But I think that what's the important thing about this conversation that we're having today is that it's like, as you said, it doesn't matter who you're for, but respecting each other, respecting
Yeah.
each other's individual opinions, and not feeling like we have to belong to a sorority or a fraternity or a group where if you don't agree with
The
me,
thing
you're
is that there's something psychological.
Yeah, and you know what I said earlier, Natasha?
I
Have
believe
you ever
they
seen
put them under. People are intelligent people.
have you ever seen someone get beat up for wearing a Joe Biden hat? But you see people get beat up for wearing a Trump hat. This is a bizarre world that we're living in. So who's really liberal, like you said? I think the Republicans are more liberal
Yeah.
than the liberals claim to be.
The Republicans
I
were
think the
always the
Republican has to
progressive party.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Well,
I
the
know there's a
thing
little.
is, I feel like it's changed with times. Like I think that certain statements should be made, such as like, I do believe in the right for the freedom for a woman to choose. Just don't wait for till
Me
9 months.
too.
You know
Both of
what I'm
us
saying?
do too.
And you
Me
do it
too.
the first 3 months, maybe. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
3 months.
is that a big deal?
I'm with you 100%.
You know what I'm saying? Look, I am for it. Some you don't want to bring a child into this world sometimes if you're not ready for it, then by all means, yes. But see, the thing is, right now it's not clear. Are Republicans going to reverse it? I don't like the words. I don't like bad words, derogatory statements towards gay people, towards any ethnicity. I don't deal with that. I never have. Never have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what's
Not
interesting? Most people said what you said. They think that Roe v. Wade is on the table with the Supreme Court nomination that we're about to experience, and they couldn't be further from the truth.
no,
Leticia,
The Roe v. Wade, the woman's
abortion.
right to choose by abortion. So there are people with the Amy Coney Barrett hearing. People are concerned that she's going to overturn Roe v. Wade, but
well,
it couldn't be further from the truth.
It's not how it works.
It's
The
not how it works.
Supreme Court does not make law; they enforce law. Congress makes law.
Well,
Senate makes law.
now you have to be a person with standing in a lower court who had a problem with abortion or an abortion to bring a case that would set a precedent that
and then
and that's never going to happen, never,
And-
ever, ever.
And four of the justices that are on the court now that are Republican have indicated in the past that they would never overturn Roe v. Wade.
That's right. Okay, so Kim Salvo joined.
Like, I have people that are like, oh my God, how dare you? Like, I'm like, like my friends, like my gay friends, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this has nothing to do with being gay or not, man. I'm sorry to tell you, man. Like, our government coming against our freaking rights, and I'm half Cuban, and socialism. I was just in Cuba, and if you guys really don't even understand that that's what this is about, I have seen the decline. Okay, actually, the fall. We're now going to be the fall of Western civilization. Screw.
I think when you move and get excited, the
hair
camera
metal,
lags.
1980s hair metal. Then we got the 90s, and now we got. Fuck, man. Sorry. I get so mad because it's like these people don't. They're like, they don't believe it. And then, the worst part is like, I've got like, well, people like my mom, they're like, oh, it'll never come here. Oh, Trump, he wouldn't like you. I'm like, first of all, I know he would love me, number one. Because
he would love you. I know him and he would love you.
You know him?
I do know
I'm like
him.
a fan. Oh my God. I honestly, I'm just so happy he's on Earth. Like, I really do think he's universal. I'll go as far as, I mean, I know it's crazy. I feel like he's an angel in a sense, and he's protected.
Yeah. Well, we have to get you into New York, into Staten Island. Well, we have to get you to come out to Staten Island and hang a little bit with Nicole Malliottakis.
Staten Island. There's no more Lemoyne, so I don't know if I'm going to go there. I'm joking. Of course I will come. I do over there.
So I just want to get in this comment from Kim Salvo. She said, I'm sorry?
We couldn't hear you.
Exactly, yes.
Oh.
So Kim Salvo says it's sad when people who demand to be respected cannot respect your values, and that's true. So so Natasha, I just wanted to say that you should come, if you can get here to Staten Island, hang for a little bit with Nicole Malliottakis, because Donald Trump endorsed her and supports her campaign for Congress. And I'm sure that when she gets inaugurated, he will be there in some way, shape, or form, and maybe you could get your opportunity to meet him.
Number one, I thank you guys both. I'm so honored. Number one, because I believe nothing is coincidence. You guys are obviously like very good souls, like, and your energies. That's number one. Number two, it's not a coincidence with Nicole. And number
No.
three, if I can help with whatever I've found, like for example, I have a very big thing with art and music, and I could maybe help her put some other clause under. You understand? Whatever. I would like to know number one more about her.
I'm gonna send
You
you
guys,
some.
of course.
I'm going to send you some dates. Maybe you can pop in and meet her. We have some events going on coming up in the next couple of weeks, so we'll send you some dates. I think that it'd be interesting for you to see the room full of Republicans and how open-minded and understanding they really are versus what the media says we really are. I've never felt more accepted in my life in those rooms. When you're around
That
people that think alike,
Republicans,
it's great.
yeah.
So,
Well, they
I,
always,
I
they always promoted Republicans as hicks.
I didn't hear
The
that.
real hicks are the liberals now. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Damn
I
straight.
said they always make Republicans seem like hicks, and I'm like, dude. I mean, you guys actually think we think you're lunatics right now. You're making no sense. You're just running around talking. You're just making no sense whatsoever. And I mean, some people said that I'm libertarian. Really, I
yeah,
don't
you
know.
sound
I'm pretty
libertarian.
libertarian.
I'm libertarian. Am I? But it doesn't
sound
matter,
like
man.
you are.
I am a little bit.
You know what? Why do we need the
So
box?
my
Right?
liberal.
The way
The
I
thing
see
is, I don't need the box. But you know what,
yeah,
man?
you are who you
Like
are.
I've literally dated men who progress. Come on. But at the end of the day, maybe that's not who I want to end up marrying. I think it's cool to just whatever. It's rock and roll. Look, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I was raised a certain way, and I'm not imposing that on everybody else. But damn, don't impose. No, so I'm not gonna like. For example, I don't think children should be said, "Oh, let's leave their birth certificate open, so they can choose their sex." No, that's something that
But
comes within, man. What
that's
do
not about
Democrats
any.
thinking, man?
That's just science. That's not about sexuality in any way. It's just science.
Well, let's get started on the
just
science part.
I just don't understand all this signaling. I mean, I thought that what we were supposed to celebrate was our individualism. The fact that we are all different from one another is what makes us fantastic. And in America, especially in America, I mean, where else can you have over 360 different ethnicities and languages in the same city? And everybody but considers themselves united through that one red, white, and blue flag. And we're all Americans, but we've all come from somewhere else. And we're supposed to applaud that. There you go. There you go. We're supposed,
People get caught up. They don't understand the way it is. Right now, our country is overflowing. Our country was always the land of opportunity. But look, a lot of our own Americans are veterans, okay? Our own children, okay? Forget about, don't even get me started on the indoctrination that's going on.
yes.
Things have gone wrong. Let's go back to Britain, everyone. Mommy and daddy, we can't do it alone. We're a young country and we need help from I'm joking, but people don't realize they're like, oh no, you can't. Immigrants should not want to come here right now. Even us Americans are like, this is not the greatest place. Don't invite people to dinner when your home is a wreck.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now you want to. Things change with time, and they're like, this has always been the country of opportunity. I'm like, well, listen. Right now, we need to take a little pause to clean the table, set the forks and knives before we invite anyone over to dinner because we've got some issues. Is that so hard?
You know the analogy I always use.
They're one track.
Yeah. The analogy I always use is when you get in an airplane and you're going on a flight, what do they tell you? When the oxygen mask falls, put it on yourself first so you can help somebody else. If we don't put the oxygen mask on ourselves right now, we're gonna crash and burn, and everyone's gonna die. So that's my
Absolutely. And
analogy of it.
I'm not willing 1 second, and I don't think anybody should give 1 second. Like my airplane is already overflooded. Anyone cannot bring their baggage. We like listen. I'm hoping that we meet in the sky, man. I'm hoping that we're all gonna fly together. But you know what? The reality is that we're going to have to look back and say, "I love you. I've said love and light behind me, man." But you know what? I'm not gonna kill myself. My life is too precious, right? Your life should be, and we got to do what's right for us. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that it doesn't come down to fighting. I'd rather do things positively, like the hippies. But of course, there is the moment of anger. I'm like, you know what? If it got real dirty, like I mean, for example, if like deep state was like literally in my face, and they were going to take away, Christ. They were going to take music, art, and they were going to do their thing. I would probably get on the front lines and say, "Look, man, my life is not worth living. I'm going to fucking fight right now." I would
That's
do
what
it
I'm saying.
because what else? They've already taken away so much. So, like from creatives, let's say for me, you understand what I'm saying? And now they're abusing and they're pandering towards a different type of creative persona. They're just fucking them all up in the head, and I'm just not down with it. You understand what I'm saying? There is a way to cure this, this whole thing. I'm not going to do it. But you never
So,
know. Like, that's what.
You never know.
what's next for you, Natasha? I mean, where could people follow you on Twitter, and what's next for you are you in the music industry? Are you drop another album? Well, can we see you
So,
on stage sometime in the near future? We hope.
okay, so yeah, what's happened is I started to build a clothing line. I'm going to see if I can pull this up over here. I'm going to, hey, Vincent, hold on, I'm going to say bye over here. I, hmm, I invested into my own clothing line. It's called Retro Crank. That's that hat you saw. And so, because I have this thing with like thrift shopping, it definitely is like a thrill. It's like a bit of a gamble. Um, but I always like to see. I see the beauty in things that like I just see room for work. Yeah, I can't explain it to you. It's also an addiction too. I'm not gonna. But so I started this line. I started really doing it for myself, and then I said, "Oh boy, what am I gonna do here?" I was like, well, just start a business. I started collecting vintage shirts. So I'll show you some of the stuff here. So stuff like this, I don't know if you guys can see. Like, so I've got like vintage suitcases.
Oh,
Those I
cool.
won't sell. Um, yeah, no, those are like, there's certain things that are prized. Like, I'll tell you, like, I can't, you know, for example, like, this is like a very Duran Duran. Can you guys even see this?
Yeah, the
Jacket.
video is not
So
real
a
clear.
lot
So
you can't see it.
I'm gonna put
No, but
the.
you know what I'd like to do, Natasha? Here's what I'd like to do. I'd love to have you back, so that we could talk about your clothing line, and maybe we could do some
Sure.
prep ahead of time, and we can get some of those images to us so that when we put them up, our get
Maybe come in studio.
yeah, our audience can
Okay.
see. But for
Yeah.
those of you who want to follow Natasha, go. George just put up the link. I think that you are a phenomenal woman, and I am blown away by the strength that you have. And that's why I asked you that question about take us backstage with you, take us through the preparation, because it was clear to me that you think of every aspect of what you do, whether it is your entertainment or whatever it is you're doing. You don't just do the one thing and be satisfied. You want to
It
see.
was the beginning of war, though. You know what?
Yeah.
Actually, you guys want to put NatashaMKomis.com is up, so
Okay.
I can send you guys that. My
Okay.
web. That's my older site, but it's got all my videos. I've got backstage videos. You'll see like the craziest stuff. Like, I mean, it's awesome.
That'd be fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today with Natasha Komis. And if you go to NatashaMKomis.com, You'll be able to see a lot of great stuff on Natasha's website. What we'll do is we'll have her back again, and we'll be able to see a little bit of her fashion line. I think we all agree. Oh, we lost her again. I think we all agree that she's a great guest. I'm sorry that the connection wasn't so great, but we'll make sure that next time we have her on, that where everything is up and running. So everyone have a great weekend. Send us those comments if you're being kicked off of Twitter or Facebook or being censored. Please talk to us about it. Please also like and share the show. Also in this show, give comments about what else you'd like to see on the show. George and I would like to bring you people who really will help answer your questions. And remember, there's 442 days before de Blasio is out of office. And we're very, very excited about that. So the countdown has begun. George, you have a great weekend. God bless all the restaurants. I don't know if we're going to have a lot of outdoor dining, even though it got passed yesterday in the city council. But thankfully, we do have indoor dining at 25% capacity. So, all right, everybody, have a great
Thanks, everybody.
All right, ciao.